disrespect Black women, especially in media, all while wanting people, especially Black women, to support and empathize with their plight. So why is it that some Black men feel the need to be like so disrespectful? Where is this hurt coming from? But then that duality of also saying like, support me, love me, take me as I am. Like, well, yeah, but not if you're gonna like, come on, son. You know, you're trying to sun me, son, bozo. You're. So I have to do a little spring little bro. I have to do it. I've been around her. It's a Tupac and Biggie. That's what we are. But to make it plain for the panelists and for the audience, why is it that some Black men feel the need to be harsh or disrespectful towards Black women, especially in public or the media? But then there's this general consensus amongst Black men that we should support you culturally and individually. Like, make it make sense. It is actually a good one. Yeah. And all the questions are good. I'm just jumping into something that seems a little juicy for time's sake. Okay.
This one here, I'm gonna have to pass. I have no set reason for why this is going on. That's not Paul Harville is what was taught in Kent. What was taught respectfully. Socrates and Plato, they went back to Greece after they studied Egypt. They didn't bring back to us. They brought back wisdom from Egypt, from Kent, from Kush. And learning process, again, one sphere of high school, how one communicates with each other, how they communicate with each other. This teaching. Everybody got to get back on the right path, start schooling each other, and letting the others know, like, look, this is the way it is. People got to start schooling other people. This is what it is. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing like how me and you were talking about Paul Tea Time. How my character was being assassinated on the radio because I was mentioning JF. A lot of female warriors from within the country. I blame society how to teach us. We just can't teach us. Because if that's the case, I will learn how to move this here without even touching it. I will learn clairvoyance, telekinesis. I need to. A lot of people who claim that they have masterhood, show me your masterhood. Show me how you can elevate. Show me how you can read my mind. Show me the telepathy. Everybody needs to be working. I myself need to be working. That's why I have my sphere of influence. That's why I keep a tight knit. My base people's my people. People I don't deal with, I don't talk with. I keep it moving. I can't mess with your energy. I can't feel you, I'm gone. I'm in the way. So, off that with the male, female, bees, and doing this, doing that, I done been through battlefields. I've been through battlefields and I still don't disrespect. I still treat everybody with respect. And if some of them that live through half the things that I've been through, I'll possibly be suicide. So with that, I'm gonna say I'm gonna shy away from that because that's not me.
I feel like you still hit it right the nail on the head. Answer the question while I'm answering the question. Right. I can only speak from personal experience. And I find times when men have disrespected me because they were intimidated by it. And how I show up in these spaces, how I show people. Because I like to know a lot of things about a lot of things. And it's okay for when men are wrong. And I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. And sometimes you just have to accept that you're wrong. I will also say on the other spectrum that women also have to accept when they are wrong.
Okay.
And when to admit when they're wrong and allow that to, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
But there's some things that you just can't tell me that it this and that, right? And it's just okay. So the times I have been disrespected has been because like I pride myself on making sure that I do the research to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. And if it's a personal experience, then it doesn't really matter how you feel about the experience. I experienced it. So even though you might not feel this way, if you can't sympathize with what I'm going through, my reality is still my reality. So I would say that the other part of the disrespect too comes from when men have unresolved trauma and issues with either past partners, with their parents, with other women who've done things to them. And so now we're showing up as that individual, especially if you present anything that looks like that person, act like that person. I have been subjected to having to deal with people's mom issues, dad issues, all types of things. And so it's not a reflection of myself. And I also have enough awareness about my work, about my life, that I know that individual is not intentionally trying to harm me. I know that I'm showing up in a way that's a trick. They don't have nowhere else to put this energy but to or directly towards me. Um, and so it's like healthy conflict, but also recognizing that there's still internal processes that they have to go through that you have to realize. Disrespect is not going to get you where you want to go with me. I don't know about other people, but I'm also I'm very much regular. So we gonna fight hard. We gonna go toe to toe, and then at the end of it, most times I can say confidently, like 98% of the time, we come to a resolve. You know, we have a conversation that is like, okay, I can see where I'm wrong. I can see where I've hurt you or harmed you, and we can get there. But that's not the case for everybody, and I feel like the disrespect with the media is because that's what sells, just like sex sells. Disrespect of black women has sold, and it's like a generation of the disrespect of women have said. And that's what people are interested in. That's the form of entertainment. Um, and so I feel like amongst, as an advocate side of me, no matter what space I'm in, black women are always the less fortunate, less resourced. And we have to work the hardest. And so sometimes that also interferes with that idea of masculinity. Like when you see a woman having to bust her ass, bust her behind to get to where they need to go, and you can't do the same, or men can't do the same, then it causes conflict. So I feel like those are the reasons why I have personally been disrespected, or why some other people disrespect people. And there's no consequence. There's no consequence to people being in the media and disrespect people who look like your mom or your cousin or your aunt or your grandmother. There's no alternative. There's no standard. Where the men in the room to be like, hey, yo, that ain't cool. That's not all right. So we can speak up for ourselves, but when we do that, it sounds like nagging, complaining, venting. But it really need another man to be here and be like, why are you even talking to this? That's not how it is. So it has to get balanced. So cultural responsibility on both ends to make sure that as women we respect men, as men we respect women, and when we are not being okay, if I say something to a man that's like, I definitely got a sense of like, you didn't have to do that. Relax. Go apologize. So I know how to say sorry. I'm so clear to know when I'm wrong. I can't say the same for other people, but I really think it's worse.
I'm actually wondering the same goddamn thing, so I don't really have an answer to this. But I think a lot of it has to do with pride and ego, and I think with women, we like try very hard to, not all women, but women do try very hard to set their pride and ego aside, especially in the presence of men. But I think it's really hard for men to do that because of the uphold and everything that they need to do. But I completely agree with everything that Jenna said.
This is an interesting question for me. I think everyone's touched on something really important as to why this experience happens. I believe for the most part, it's the fact that the culture we exist in upholds that behavior. Like we literally watch these men who are athletes, celebrities. They get paid to do some very humanistic, simple shit. And because it's not really, a lot of it's not amazing. A lot of it's just ordinary, but they just do it in front of a camera paid by a bunch of suits. And then they get rewarded for chaotic behavior in the public realm for other people to watch, like a Coliseum battle. Most of the time this stuff happens. And the second part of the question as to why men ask for sympathy and compassion in those moments is, one, they weren't raised properly in regulating their emotions or communicating them with clarity. That's something that takes training, it takes work, just like being able to change a tire. You gotta at least have done it once to know how to do it. So if you've gone your whole life not crying, not being allowed to speak up when something's hard, not being allowed to say, hey, I want to break, because whatever person said, nah, you're not allowed to quit. We don't quit. You said, I wanted to quit. It's hot. I want a moment to just chill, drink some water. I'll get back in 10 minutes. But nah, when you're not given that experience, you just bottle everything in, like this brother said earlier. So when you're going through that and then you get triggered by something emotionally volatile in a realm you have no experience in articulating, you lash out. And it's unreasonable, it's unbearable for both sides. And a lot of times it comes out in such ways because that frustration has been building up for years. And oftentimes men feel like they need to do a whole spectacle to get others to see and go, see, do you see what I'm seeing? Do you experience this too? I'm right? I'm not bugging, right? We all know that. That's the reason why some people go to platforms like Twitter and Facebook to post all this dramatic shit, because they want an audience. They want feedback. They want a response. They want people to agree with them. They need support. And oftentimes when that's happening, they don't know what they're doing or how they're going about it is wrong or how damaging, because they're so in their first person perspective that they can't see who they're talking to or about. And they're so busy trying to be heard and seen because they're frustrated, like literally like an infant. When an infant needs something, it just needs it. There is no, okay, wait 10 minutes for mommy to get ready and then she'll feed you. No, he's hungry right now. And that same experience is happening when someone's triggered, frustrated, and flustered, and they don't have the vocabulary or the actual experience. They don't feel comfortable to even pause, reset. Okay, what is it that I want to say? How is this person going to actually receive it? They can't do that part yet because they have to be shown that the place is safe. They have to be shown that they can use sensitive and vulnerable communication and words, and they have to be shown that there won't be negative repercussions for them being vulnerable. Because we've been trained for 20 to 30 years that a man needs to be the strongest thing in the room so it doesn't get killed. Then we're actually able to realize that we can let the guard down, we can take the armor off, and we can just chill, and we can just talk. Because where I'm from, Brooklyn, you just gonna scrap. It's gonna be what it is. It doesn't matter what age you are, what gender you are. You just gonna go at it. It doesn't matter. You can be someone's grandmother. If she says something disrespectful, it's okay on the block for you to curse her out. But it also is okay if her grandson comes and beat your ass. So
Context.
Exactly. So it goes back to creating a community of culture that has intention for growth and security within every inch of that wall.
Good question. We talked about programs, right? So, as we were leading into the thing, you know what I'm saying? We put music on. I was born in '70. We back in then, you said you got Alvin, Let's Stay Together, you got Luther, you got all these love songs, Black Love and everything, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And, I got a little teenager, and Jodeci came out, P Sweat came out, H-Town, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God, baby making music, right? But then comes gangster rap, Snoop Dogg, bitches ain't shit, but hoes and tricks, stuff like that. So that narrative got implemented into our community, and it became more cool, more acceptable to speak to women this way. You know what I'm saying? You got the videos and everything, and that programming changed the narrative for us. So, you know what I'm saying? From this point in time when I'm growing up seeing, like it's more about love, more about togetherness, more about just kind of like a relationship. Even if it wasn't, you might have had, I saw you walking in the rain, that might have been like, the most dramatic song that was out back then. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, But other than that, you know, it was more love, it was more togetherness. And then it just started, you know what I'm saying? It goes from Snoop to Chris, these agents ain't loyal and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, I can't say the reason for it, you know what I'm saying? Because hey, you know, the label owners program, they play more of that than they play anything else. Right. So that has been pushed to us. Everything is coming down to break down our community and focusing on these things and you know what gets us going and everything like that. You know, and that's where and because of that holding in your emotions and not being able to express it, you know what I'm saying? I've had a woman call me, get in my face and call me a pussy. How am I supposed to respond to that? As a man. As a man. Like that is a challenge. Like first of all, what? You know what I'm saying? Like if that was a man, it's Brooklyn. I ain't from Brooklyn, but I would have been from Brooklyn that day. You know what I'm saying? So how am I supposed? What? So you know what I'm saying? So if I and at the end of the day, because just like you, I've never called that lady out of her name at all. Even after that, I laughed when she said it because my masculinity, I'm secure in it. I know I ain't no pussy. You know what I'm saying? So what are you really saying? But it was a challenge. It was a challenge to my masculinity. It was a challenge to my manhood. It was a way to bring me down and do that. So kind of, you know, at the end of the day, if I was feeding off of Snoop Dogg, Chris Brown, all this programming, then my response is supposed to be that. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to respond with aggression, with a violence, or anything. Let my stand up for my masculinity. Let my ego speak for me. Let my pride speak for me. But you know, and that's the toxic ego pride kind of thing. But you know what I'm saying? As me and Ray were talking earlier, if you challenge yourself with more positivity, if you challenge yourself, it's all what you can take. If you're taking all of that kind of stuff and you put it in your heart, you put it in your mind, then that's what your reservoir is. That's what you're gonna feed from when you try to put the output from. But I don't do that. So my output comes from love, it comes from compassion, it comes from being a real man, I'm a king. I don't have to lower myself to your level because you're disrespecting me, especially if you're a woman, because I feel your pain. There's some pain inside you that made you say that to me. There's something that's going on with you that says more about you than it says about me. And in this moment, I'm just going to step back and let you figure it out. So, I mean, it's not right. And that's what I feel, you know, because the label owners have made it a lucrative business. They're getting paid from this disrespect. They're getting paid from us shaming ourselves and lowering our vibration. And, you know, at the end of the day, we don't, you know, a lot of people start to feed off. We was also talking about starting to go for that chase the dollar, instead of really kind of focusing on what your real talent is. You're using your talent for something that is not productive for the community.
Mm-hmm. Audience, we'll have 2 audience comments, 1 and 2.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. Hello.
Hey, Charlotte.
I'm Rhea's mother.
Oh, wow.
I'm Rhea's mom. And I have 5 children. I have 4 boys, 5 grandsons.
1 second. Let's respect the mic, everybody. 1 mic, 1 voice. No, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get We're going to Kiki. We'll have Kiki in a minute. We got 2 questions, and then audience wrap up, and then everybody network, purchase, support, donate if you want, whatever, you know, it's whatever. So let's get her attention.
I've been listening to a lot of what's being said and kind of taken some in, kind of gave my perspective and thought of things. And one of the things I wanted to say, when I was listening to the music industry and a lot of the things that as a people and a culture, we've been manipulated by a music industry background. And one of the things much, and my background, I can remember when rap was possible. We looked at the beginning of hip hop. It was KRS One. It was about teaching. It was about telling our story. It was about love and respect and really educating us about who we were, the kings and queens, and where we come from. And then all of a sudden, it changed. It changed for a reason. Some of us may hear the stories about private prisons. It changes the method of control. We went from hearing all of this, who we were as a people bringing us together, as the young lady here said earlier, what happened? It was about control. Me being an executive in the background, I'm going from signing artists who were on the, Boogie Down Bronx and Money Earning Mount Vernon and when Brooklyn was doing it, to being asked to sign artists that were saying something totally negative. There was things that you would hear about quietly, but kept in the media social media where there was a meeting. Private prisons were built, and private prisons need bodies. They shoot black bodies. So what do? If you're not paying attention, how do they get our young people? Music. So we went from signing what was positive to what was negative. The Snoop Dogg went from love to rump shaking with bitches and hoes, from killing each other. The videos changed. The budgets were then given to those people who were playing into that. Because if you can change the mind through what we see and our young people see, you got artists. First, no one was getting these big gold chains and running around in Mercedes. They were rewriting our story so that our young people begin to buy into it. It was purpose because private prisons need bodies and government pays money for everybody. So all of a sudden, our stuff began to disappear and the music changed and the mindset changed. And the young people gravitated to what they were beginning to see. Started going to jail, and then that was it. We're all after each other. Yes, as Black women, we went from being kings and queens, from Miss Melody. Now we're hoes. Now we're naked, and everything about us is about, booties. And that's really what happened. The narrative changed. Another thing I was listening to was safe space. I have what I call my brother husbands. I've been married 3 times. 2 of them were supposed to be here today. One wasn't feeling well. One texted me on the way. Something must have happened. And people always ask me, how do you keep it all together? How is it that you got this tribe? My stepdaughter's here. My son's here. How do you keep them together? I give these men a safe space. As a woman, I do nothing. I know when I think of masculine power, I think of getting it done. We put these labels, it becomes toxic when we use it destructively. Things that in a negative way, we things that in a positive way. There's always a way to go about it. And people look at me and say, you're very masculine in what you do. I can't just get things done. And yes, I do have a hard time being feminine when I feel like as a mom and sometimes a single mom, I have to stay on that platform getting it done so often. So turning it off when I come home to my man is kind of hard. Like, come home with these kids. When he needs me to just, and I need to give him a safe space, trust that it can happen. So I give these men a safe space when we're all together. I do nothing. They say, how all 3 of your husbands? I said, they're my brother husbands. How do you get your brother husbands in the room and nobody's fighting? I said, I do nothing. I don't have to. These are grown men. They will make that decision. And if I just respect them, they respect each other, and they respect me. We also have a community where, because I create this safe space for these men to be fathers, they may not have been my best partners, but they're amazing dads. And they're dads to each other's children. Where one cannot maybe communicate to that son something's happening, the other one will step in and say, I've got him. And they take care of each other's children because that that safe space is allowed for them to do so. The door is always open. Last year, my son passed away, and he took his life, and because of a lot of things. And, you know, because of the system we live in, not allowing him to be able to go and fight for his children, it's just a lot of things. But the brother husband stepped in. They stepped in for each other. They stepped in for me. They stepped in as a family. We are all helping each other heal. And I think sometimes because, like another woman on the panel said, we were told we couldn't have men in our lives. Well, guess what? We gave up food stamps and got educated. You fool me once. You don't fool us twice. We know how to step past some things and move on. So now we've got this era where we're not told we can't have men in order to survive and feed our kids. We said, you know what? We will go and get educated. We will go to trade school. We figure it out. So now we've got this space that we are all in where we don't have to hide our men and pretend like, you know, he's not coming home so we can get some, you know, free cheese and beans. Like when my grandmother was coming up. We now live in a society where we have all this space to be amongst each other. Now we got to figure out how to be amongst each other and not keep believing in the stories. They can't trick us with crack anymore and figure that out. And that, I don't think we were doing that. They had that. No, you got us with the crack. We ain't going back. That's you. No. So we are getting better as a people, and I think this conversation is beautiful because we're allowed to say it with each other. Now we're all looking at each other like, okay, we're all here. Nobody gonna make you leave or make me leave or trick us into anything. Now we've got to learn to give all of us a safe space to be. You know, when I had my first son, I was 17. So, you know, recognize you, but I can see Maurice, he's in his 40s. And then there's Red, who's 23. When he went to school, I'm mom, almost 40, where I could say, you go to school and you have an amazing day and inspire someone. I would tell them that every day. Inspire somebody because you could be the only kindness that child will hear today. They may not have a mommy like you. You might be the only kind words that child will hear today. Because a lot of mothers were young when he was in kindergarten. I was the older mother that with this child. And it's the lessons we learn, the lessons we teach, and being a community that are open to each other. Not holding on to grudges sometimes, not holding on, letting our men come back and share their growth. And then share it amongst each other. And not having the judgment. And being able to be checked. My brother husbands check me all the time. I know I can be a handful. One of them would call me quick and say, you know, something said, I need you to clean that up so we can do this. All right, Pat.
Check you about you.
They will check me about me because they know me the best. And you have to create the space and just be willing to accept and just know that, you know, we're all growing, we're all changing. My kids are my biggest teachers. They also love to just tell me off in a minute. And I have to humble myself and do it because I taught them how to do it. So of course they're going to go back out there and bring some more in. And it's that and also as an older woman, I've learned to accept beautiful things. I'm learning something new, and I can let go of the old stuff because they always bring the goodies in. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, but and a lot of it is just as the people, we have so much freedom that we didn't have, and that's what's changing. We say, what changed? This is what's changing. The doors are open. We just as a people have to be receptive to each other. Be forgiving, be willing to let go, and be willing to listen. And be okay with going, I didn't get that one right. Oh well, I'm back to the drawing board. It really is looking at myself. I told my son the other day, I said, I must be a jerk lately. He said, why? I said, I'm attracting some jerks, and you are always, whoever you attract is who you are.
That's right.
And then I said, okay, I'm gonna be gentle to myself. I might be a temporary jerk. But it's the willingness to learn that we're not perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have these moments. And it's okay to know that even as women, we are very empowered. They've allowed us this. But allowing our men the safe space to figure some things out too. And learn from each other. Give that love. And just, you know, be okay with it. It really is that. That's it.
How you doing? How everybody doing? Heard my brother said something about our music, right? And one thing we gotta understand, music is a form of expression, you know. And he said how the music changed. The first time when you said that, I had this conversation before. I thought about the old school music where it's about he shouldn't never trust me so much. The old school song. So the thing is, music back then, they were just teaching men how to be sweet, toxic, maxim men. You know what I'm saying? And it was still so we can't blame it on the music, you know, like that. We just gotta blame it on people not understanding their true culture. Like Marcus Garvey said, people without the knowledge of their history and their culture is like a tree without roots, you know. And the thing is a question that I asked Ock right here, Mac West, about the first question about what would you tell a young man? And the thing is, you know, everything in life, you know, when, like, say, for example, I was talking to my daughter one time, and I was like, I said, if I was to say, if you knew nothing about a computer, nothing, you know, nothing about it, anything like that. If I was to give you that computer, you know, what would you do with it? She said, I'd probably break it. I said, you got to understand this things that's created have an owner man. See, the thing is this, I would tell people to find out your owner man or how you need to operate, you know. And I think, you know, we can reduce toxic masculinity and femininity, being feminist by getting in tune with the owner manual, understanding, you know, what the owner manual say, how you supposed to conduct yourself, you know. And I think that's the solution of fixing those issues what we're talking about. You know, people got to have a working knowledge of who they are, you know, and whatever they may be for you, you know. I think a lot of us need to do that. Another thing I heard our elders say about what happened, and the first thing that came to my mind was integration. Okay. If you look at it, right, you know, integration. You know what happened? Martin Luther King said it too. He said, man, when he had a dream speech towards the end, he said he realized that, hey, the dream is a nightmare, you know, at the end of the day. So that's what happened. I think we as people, we keep on referring to, well, these people we are putting out this music. No, we ain't doing it. They doing it. And what we need to do is create our own platform and put out our own message. You see what I'm saying? So we can't leave these labels. No, you need to create your own label. You know, we already know what's going on, white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? The scheme of how they try to minimize and decriminalize us melanated men. It ain't us that we toxic like that. It's what the media put out about us. So we got to make sure that we don't fall victim to the system of have you thinking that most of our men are toxic. So when it comes to them, they are white, they are pure, they are righteous. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that we ain't get caught up in that system. You know what I'm saying? Why we have this ideology about our people? Reason why? Because they took our culture from us. They took it from us. We don't know who we are. In the melanated people in America, they don't have a clue who we are. But you know what? You see these other people that know who they are, that's melanated like us, they don't encounter the same situations that we encounter. Not one bit. So this thing is this, it's American thing. Supremacy, European system that did that. And that's a fact. Because people that's melanated, they look like you, they don't conduct themselves like Americans that was born here. It's totally different. I experienced that because my wife, she's from Jamaica. She's melanated, but the way she conducts herself and do things is different. Why? Because of culture. And the thing is this, we got to get in tune with our true culture. We got to discover the true owner manual on how you need to operate. So that's what I would tell that young man. Understand the owner manual of yourself on how to be a man. At the end of the day, get in tune with nature. Get in tune with nature, because the physical is the manifestation of the spiritual. See what I'm saying? Animals got it right more than us. They operate with this. It's a law of nature. True story. Everything has a law that's created. So we got to get in tune with the law that was for us as men and women. And that's when we will see a decrease in toxicity amongst masculine men and women. Because at the end of the day, a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. We got to understand that. You can't be a man if you ain't a man. You can't be a woman if you ain't a woman. That's just the bottom line. Nature. We got to get aligned with nature. We're supposed to reproduce, right? We got to get in tune with the owner manual of who we truly are. That's what I believe. So.
I was saying to somebody whose name I'm not gonna name, because people always say with me that they said, well, I have some strong beliefs. And I just want to, I don't know if somebody's going to be in the room who's going to say what I want to be said. You just spoke all the words of all the things. And I'm so confident that that person who I'm not going to call out feels like they were heard, which was one of the concerns, is that, you know, as a heterosexual, masculine, urban Black man who's understanding and respectful of all people, I feel like I just can't have a voice, which is such a scary thing to me, because I've seen us fight all these different fights, and now there's so many other initiatives that we can represent and support. But I do see where oftentimes the Black, like, urban male's voice, the father, you know, the brother who runs the streets, the rapper, it gets lost. So it's just good. I want everybody to be included, which is also why I have the agreements that we've agreed to.